Hey guys, what's up? It's Dragoon here, and welcome to another episode of the Anime Corner. Today is a very special episode of the Anime Corner. Why? Because, well, this just came out today. This is Soul Eater Volume 25, the very last volume in the series. As you can kind of tell, it says final right there. Let's just take a look at this real fast. We'll get into this in just a second, I guess. So, if you guys have been following the series, you'll know that I've been a pretty big Soul Eater fan ever since pretty much the series came out in America in about 2008 or 2009. And ever since then, I've been reading the manga, watching the anime. I have all of the anime, and now I have all of the manga. It's a series that I've come to enjoy quite a bit over the years. So, especially considering it's been like 6 years, somewhere around there. When you follow something for that long, it kind of sticks. And considering this is the end, I wanted to dedicate this episode to talking about this final volume. So, if you don't want to get spoiled, unfortunately I cannot recommend watching much of this video because, well, we're going to be talking about the last volume and some of the events that happened. If you've been following the series up until now, and you want to discuss what's happened, definitely stick around because I'm going to be talking about it. I hope we can talk about it in the comments as well, but it's going to be pretty great. Now let's just go ahead and look at this volume on its own. I'm going to bring it up close to the camera. You can see the really glossy text. That was kind of really surprising to me. I was really happy to see it once I opened this up. I got it in the mail today. I think Yen Press has done the last volume of a justice. The paper feels to be a bit thicker on the last one, which I really did appreciate. Once again, like I said, the text, you can see it's on the spine of the manga as well. You can see you've got Maka right here, and then all that good stuff. This is the back. It's real simple, which I really like. I don't think it needs to be anything more than that because I think, honestly, simplicity is key at this point. The cover looks amazing. That's not really anything to do with Yen Press. That's Okubo's work, but it looks great. I especially like this too because if someone was a fan of Soul Eater and they happen to see this, it doesn't really spoil much. It kind of shows just 4 of the characters that if you've at any point of the series, you probably know who they are. I mean, granted, this is like post semi time skip deal, but whatever, right? It's also probably, I believe, the thickest volume of the series, which is once again. I think, Yen Press and whoever was involved in deciding how long to make each volume, the planning process, once again, just a good job on their part to make this final volume something special. So as soon as I got back from class, I went and picked this up and read it immediately. So, I don't know, I'll show you guys a little bit of the inside. It says Last Soul Eater and then The Last Symphony. Great. And then one thing too, just real quick, it includes gorgeous color work. It doesn't get that much. This is a great last volume. I wish the last volume of Bakuman had this much care put into it. It would have been awesome to have the whole thing in color, but oh man, that would have been so much more expensive. So I can totally understand, but color illustrations in here, real solid art. I think just the product alone is pretty good. Now, let's go ahead and get into what happens in the last volume, because that is clearly what's really important here. Well, what goes down? We've been fighting the Kishin at this point. The Kishin had absorbed Krona, and so Death the Kid, Maka, and Black Star, plus, Soul, Tsubaki, Liz, and Patty, they're all fighting. Everyone's fighting. We've got all these people who've been working. They've been getting defeated. It's up to our main 3 to really take care of this guy, as you'd expect. They're the main characters. You're not going to expect them to not be in the final battle. Now, when Krona was absorbed by the Kishin in the last volume, to be completely honest with you, I was happy about it. I'm not a fan of Krona. I understand why some people like him or her, whichever way you want to refer to it. I will be referring as him in this video, so I'm sorry if that disagrees with where you are on this character, but yeah, to me, Krona's a boy. I didn't like Krona. I'm not trying to be mean about it. I did not care for his character. And so when he was absorbed by the Kishin, I was like, yay, no more Krona. and then he's kind of back. But I'm going to be jumping in all sorts of areas when I discuss this. So what happens to Krona? Well, our heroes go inside the Kishin to find Krona, essentially, but also to deal with the Kishin at the same time. And in doing so, and by our heroes, I'm talking about our main Maka and Soul. In doing so, Krona decides that he is going to become a seal to seal up the Kishin, which was great. It was a boost in my, I guess, liking of the character. Once again, like I said, I didn't care for him too much. I thought when he ate, I don't know if he eats or killed Medusa, I thought that was awesome. It's really cool, but still, once again, not my cup of tea. But he decides to seal up the Kishin using himself, which I thought was really cool. You know, it's not the most dramatic. Yes, it's dramatic. It's not like the most groundbreaking story element. I mean, how many times have you seen that done in which a character utilizes his own life force or her own life force in order to seal up some sort of enemy? It's happened, right? So Krona decides to become the seal on the Kishin, which was great. It was a nice plot point to be able to fight off the Kishin while also, for me, not putting Krona in the story anymore. Yes, I know it's the last volume, but like I said, I didn't like him. And so he's gone, which is cool for me. This probably sounds really weird, but yeah, I liked that. I really did like that. And for those people who really liked Krona, they might like it too. I don't know. Now let's backtrack a little bit. I'm going to be talking about each thing specifically. My absolute favorite part in this volume has to do with Death the Kid, because Death the Kid is my favorite character. In the fight with the Kishin, you learn very early on in this volume, Death the Kid and the Kishin are brothers, technically. They were both created by Lord Death, aka Shinigami-sama, however you want to call him. They were created by him, so technically they are brothers. And when you find, I thought they looked similar, so I had kind of this hunch that's okay, do they have some sort of relation? Not necessarily with family, I didn't really think about that, but is there some sort of tie to them? What could it be? Well, they were both created by the Kishin, they're essentially brothers, or I'm sorry, by Shinigami, Kishin and Death the Kid, like I said. So wow, okay, so you find this out really immediately. Like I said, it's not the most groundbreaking plot twist, but it's okay, that's kind of cool. So now he has to deal with this wow, this monster is related to me. And it's really cool because Black Star is look, I know this is tough for you, but you've got to get it together. You can deal with all that stuff later. You've got to fight now. And he says, I know what I have to do. And so he does. And what happens? The Kishin is constantly telling him, that Shinigami is just this terrible person, just like the Kishin is, and that Death the Kid's gonna be the same way. They're all following the same lineage here, and Death the Kid kind of almost falls for it. But then he decides, you're wrong. My father's not like that, and neither am I. That's where we're different from you. What's he do? He activates his Shinigami powers all the way. The lines on his hair, they all three completely connect. And he becomes a true Shinigami. And in doing so, what happens? Shinigami-sama, Lord Death, he dies. There can only be one Shinigami, and, well, we've got our new one. And he dies right by the hands of, or not by the hands, right next to Excalibur, because they were kind of watching the fight from inside Death City. So Death the Kid has no idea what's just happened. And when he activates his true Shinigami powers, Shinigami-sama says to Excalibur, he's watch over my son for me, because I can't do it. He fades away. While Death the Kid is activating his powers, you see Shinigami's mask starting to crack and fall apart, and then he's gone. And that was a moment for me. I was wow. He's gone. This guy's gone. It's kind of sad. Yeah. It's a nice moment for sure. So, what else happens? he gains his powers, and he gets these really cool eyes. I don't know if, I feel like they may have appeared earlier in the series, but he gets it in both eyes. It's really cool, and so he works to fight. Now, one thing I really enjoyed about Soul Eater that I can't always say about every other, I guess, shonen type battle manga, one thing that Soul Eater does, and especially does in this one, is it's not afraid to necessarily deal damage to characters. Maka at one point gets stabbed like right through here. She gets right in the shoulder area, but as well right through the chest. It's pretty crazy, right? Black Star's arm just gets completely messed up, and apparently his spine starts getting messed up too in the fight. The Kishin's fight feels like it's a big deal. It's the final fight in the show, and you see our characters getting hurt badly, which is something, it really adds to the tension, it adds to the conflict, it adds to the urgency of the plot at this point, because this guy, it doesn't seem like a pushover, which, like I said, I can't speak for in all other types of, other series in this genre. It's not always like that. And I think that was something that this volume specifically excelled at. Can't specifically speak for the entire series because, like I said, it's been so long since I've just been, reading each volume as they come. It's been so long since I've looked at it as a whole. I can't comment on that specifically. But yeah, so they're doing all this, and it's really great stuff happening here. Now, moving to other characters, looking at Maka and Soul. Well, when I mentioned Maka getting stabbed through the chest essentially by the Kishin, he just runs his arm right through her. What keeps her alive? You probably guessed if you've been following the series at this point. It's the black blood. Maka stays alive because of the black blood, and not surprisingly, but it's thanks to Soul. And what does this do? It does an awesome thing. Maka gets a new transformation, which was pretty cool. Her scythe, aka Soul, has piano keys on it now, and she has this cool black dress. It's really cool. And so, and she has the demon hunter attack. So she goes after the Kishin, like I said, hits him with it, drives the scythe right into his chest. And through that, it allows her and Soul to enter the Kishin. Like I mentioned before, looking for Krona. It's really cool because they do play up that idea of the symphony, as mentioned in the beginning of this volume. And, music has been kind of a semi-recurring theme in Soul Eater, and I'm happy to see it continue up until the end. Because you see they create... Soul calls it, the ultimate song of the souls or something like that, and he puts his and Krona's soul into the music itself. It's really cool. It's a nice little, theme, like I mentioned before, for the series. And I really did enjoy what they did with it in this volume. So Maka comes out, and the Kishin's gone. The Kishin is getting sealed up with Krona, and through what our heroes have done, thus ending the fight. And when Maka comes out, it's kind of cool because her black dress is now white, so kind of that purity type deal. It's kind of interesting. Final battle's over with, so what do we have next? We have a little bit of epilogue. The epilogue was, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was amazing, but there was, I guess for me, it left some to be desired. So, what happens in the epilogue? Well, the coolest thing that happens, in my opinion at least, is Death the Kid gets announced as the new Shinigami-sama. Essentially the new, I don't want to say ruler, but the new leader of Death City, the new head of the helm. He really puts in his father's footsteps. He gets a mask, and it's really funny because he's like, is the mask on straight? And they're like, I think it's been on straight this whole time. But he's like, he still has the same little quirk to him. And one thing I like about Soul Eater is each of the characters do have their own quirks, but they don't play it up so much that it becomes incredibly annoying. Whereas I've seen that in other series. It's like, yes, okay, I get it. I realize this character is like that. You don't need to bring it up every time. Especially I hate when it's brought up in a serious moment. It's like, no, you don't need to do that. And none of that gets brought up here in this final battle, in this serious moment. It doesn't happen, and it's really nice to see. So, he becomes the new leader, right? And what does he do? What is his first thing he does as leader? He creates essentially the final death weapon. What is that final death weapon? You've probably guessed it. It's Soul. He becomes the final death scythe, essentially. Because he had Arachne's witch soul and then 99 other souls. And he announced, in Death the Kid announces that it's time that, you know, with him as leader, that things are going to change. He wants to establish a better relationship with the witches because there's no need for that sort of conflict to constantly be ever present. Once again, something that's kind of cool, a new era, something that was, it's nice to see. It's like, it's not the most incredible thing, like it's, no, gosh, this has never been done before, but it's done well. And to me, doing something well is more important than doing something out of the ordinary. They're both important, but if you do something for the sake of it being new and it's not done well, I don't see it to me it's not worth doing, because it's just, it feels like a novelty rather than like something solid. So that's kind of just my opinion on that sort of thing. So in the end of the volume, Soul decides he's gonna play this song, right, for everybody. And it's kind of cool because, and this is something where, it, like I said, it left me to be desired, because I would have loved to hear this song. And it's like, come on, Bones, I believe, is who did the original Soul Eater anime. The manga's been done technically for 2 years. It ended in 2013 in Japan, and now in 2015 here in America we got the last volume, clearly. But man, come on, Bones. Could you please give Soul Eater the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood treatment? You know, start over from scratch if you need to, and give it this ending. Because I've talked about this before, the anime's ending is just, I don't know, not great in my opinion. It's very cheesy, and it's like they started pulling ideas just out of nowhere, and I didn't like it. This ending is significantly better in my opinion. And one of the other cool things that happens in the ending of Soul Eater is you find out that Stein and Marie are having a baby, which is really cool. It's kind of nice to see those little things. I did enjoy that. One in the same realm, it left a little bit to be desired. I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of some type of relationship form between Soul and Maka. It's kind of been forming throughout the series, but it's never been really looked at. Like, it's never gotten a serious, like an extremely serious moment. It's always been like, oh, I have to protect my Meister, or oh, I have to do things for Soul because, you know, we're partners. It's never. I kind of wanted to see that blossom a little bit more personally, but it kind of does a little bit. It's really like it like insinuates sort of, but I don't know. I don't think it's quite the same. Like I said, I would have liked to see a little more of that, but you can't. It's done. What's done is done. And there was one thing about this, I have to mention it. It's that I liked it, but at the same time I thought it was like really out of place. They bring the manga full circle. If you remember, in the beginning of Soul Eater, there was, I don't know how exactly to describe it. I guess I would say that there was fan service in the form of Blair, Tsubaki, and Liz and Patty. It all happened at the very beginning, and then you kind of didn't see it anymore. And they bring it full circle by doing that again with those three characters. It's not excessive, it's a little bit, but at the same time I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, I can appreciate it's probably supposed to be some sort of joke referencing the first volume or 3. I forget if all of that happened at once or not. I get it, but at the same time it's like, I don't know. I didn't know how I felt about it. Maybe other people like it. They'll find it funny. I just thought it was a little strange. A little, I don't know. I almost want to say out of place, but at the same time, like, it's like, whatever. You can let me know how you felt about that. I feel like it's going to be one of those things that either people really like or they just, like, don't like all that much, so. But without getting too much into everything that happens, it's just, I liked it. I very much thought this was a rather fulfilling ending to the series. Oh, one other thing I want to mention real fast, as long as I was talking about the things I felt with the series, the things I may not have liked so much. I really wish Kid could have gotten the chance. I don't know. I guess he kind of did it, but it was like off screen. This isn't screen, but you know what I mean. I wanted to see him mourn for the loss of his father. Like, it felt like that part was rushed out, and I was like, they tried to make a joke out of it, and I didn't like that. Because while he's mourning over his father, Excalibur is being, well, Excalibur, in being obnoxious and loud and being the type of person he is. And it's funny in the sense that the kid just tells him to shut the heck up. But it's like, come on. I mean, that's such a, in my opinion, like a touchy moment. Like, I don't know. I just did not care for that. But as I mentioned, I did mention the things I didn't care so much about in this volume, but I honestly think if it comes down to it, if I were to form some sort of ratio off the top of my head, it'd be like 3 to 7. 3 things I didn't quite care about, 7 things I did like. And I gotta say, in that regard, I think the series has ended on a pretty decent note. There are things I would have liked to see more of, things I would have liked to see a little differently, especially over the course of the entire manga itself, but all in all, I gotta give Soul Eater a would recommend. I know I don't normally do reviews on this channel, on this segment, and maybe I'm gonna branch out and do that. It's not even a maybe. I'm gonna definitely review Tokyo Ghoul Route A this Thursday, actually, whenever the final episode airs, so look forward to that if you're watching, if you want to hear my opinions on it. I'm gonna be guest showing Matt once again. If you remember, he was in the new 3DS discussion video I posted. It's going to be happening. Look forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. But back to Soul Eater. Yeah. All in all, I do recommend this series. I recommend, I don't know, if you got the funds, check out the anime and the manga. I do think they both have their own nice qualities. With the exception of the anime's ending, it has this really, really interesting charm to it. The animation is nice. The music is really nice, if I remember correctly, and I found the voice acting to be pretty solid too. I do think it's a relatively solid anime, with the exception of where they diverge from the manga. I didn't like that. So if you're looking to get, if you can only pick one, I do recommend picking the manga. But if you can get both, man, get both. I think I don't know, who knows, they might do some sort of collection in which you can get like a bunch of the manga. If you can get your hands on that, do it. I know the anime is pretty cheap now. You can get on Blu-ray for like the whole series for like $20 or something like that. But definitely check this series out. If you're a fan of shonen battle manga, if you're a fan of Bleach, falls on the same category, but when I first started reading it, it did remind me of Bleach a little bit. So if you like Bleach, you're probably going to like this. I don't know why I'm saying, hey, recommending this now, when you're watching this video that would have tons of spoilers for the ending. I don't know. I'm just trying to say that I'm happy with it. And I hope that you guys who have stuck with this manga as long as I have are happy too, because there's nothing worse than sticking with a long-running manga. 25 volumes, it's not the longest in the world, but it's a decent number. There's nothing worse than sticking with something that long only to have it end on a low note. Endings are paramount in my opinion. And I gotta say, Soul Eater did deliver to a pretty decent extent. With that being said, you guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this volume of Soul Eater. If there's other things you're interested in hearing about, please let me know. I'd love to talk about it. Really do like talking about anime manga. It's a pretty big passion of mine, as a lot of you probably know. So with that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.